Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Dream Career Talk Show. Today, on this 55th episode of Dream Career Talk Show, we are going to talk about a very interesting topic, which is authentic leadership. We all know that leaders are in demand, and authentic leaders are in huge demand. Leadership is about courage, leadership is about being fearless, but how can you become a fearless leader? How can you become an honest, transparent, and authentic leader? How can you develop trust among people? How can you help people with their career aspirations rather than misguiding them with manipulation? How to become an authentic leader? To discuss more on authentic leadership and what makes an authentic leader, today we have our guest, a very special guest, Thota Chakravarty, who has been there, who has done it, and continues to do that for one of the leading power plant controls engineering company. Thota Chakravarty comes with 30 plus years of experience in industries like power plant, refineries, and steel plant and chemicals, more like the controls and the instrumentation industry. And I've known Thota, and he comes with like huge experience, plus also he walks the talk. He is an authentic leader who has always promoted leadership and has been grooming a lot of leaders. So, Thota, welcome to Dream Career Talk Show.
Thank you, Fatah. I think it's my privilege that I am just in this platform and really thankful for your giving me some time to share my some experiences, right? And very I think thanks, Fatah, to giving me this great opportunity.
Thank you for accepting the invite. And I know the kind of role that you have been playing in the current organization, plus from the past 30 years, the experience you come with, and the way you have been grooming not only leaders within India, plus you take care of the teams globally, and you have been leading a huge organization and huge teams there. So, Tota, let's first understand about your career journey before we understand more about authentic leadership. So, were you a leader right from the beginning, or you got into the leadership role over a period of time? Like, what inspired you to be the leader? Let's understand from your career journey. How did you get started onto this?
Sure, I will just brief my from my childhood, right, where how this all about the leadership. So I actually am very inspired by the sports. I mean, whenever I used to see the cricket, cricket is a religion in India, right? Even soccer. So I was very much impressed by some of the captains, like because I still remembered when we won the World Cup, right? I was a kid during that time, but it was 1983 World Cup, right? India was never in the race. I think we used to be always bottom bottom and but in 1983 we won the cup, and I think Kapil Dev was great. I think you, and now the 1983 the movie is also being shown, right?
Right.
I think that was the inspiration. I felt that when a captain, right, when he can inspire a team which is in the bottom to come to the number one team, and I think that blew my mind that, hey, no matter whether it is sports, right, whether it's a movement, whether it is an office, it can be anything. But so that was where I was very much inspired, right? And I always wanted to you know lead in something like where I can talk by when lead by an example. I think Kapil Dev was one of the example, right, which you all people know.
Right.
So that was a story. And I did my school. It was quite good because I studied in my central school, and I studied from the same school where Dhoni studied, that is Ranchi. So
Wow.
it's the same school. So of course I'm quite senior in that one.
Yeah,
So
but great
we were,
leaders come from common places.
yeah, yeah. So basically, spend a lot of time playing cricket. This thing, and a lot of good grounds were there. And so I did my schooling, my 12th, everything there, central school. That all went well, and went for my engineering higher studies, right? And we did some, later we used to organize. I used to organize the programs because I'm quite interested. One thing what I found that connecting with the people, right, and that's very important, social connection, right? Because really you can transform your ideas to actual things, provided you get support from all the people, right? So I think that was thing. And I eventually went for a jobs project. So, and the fortunate thing that I had my leadership role I could get within 2 3 years, right, in the controls. And I think I have, with the overall 30 years experience, what I've seen that, one of the main thing, I think I will give one some good story, right? Because when I started my career, and in one of the, I think worked in various industries, as Fatah mentioned, in power plants and these things, so 4 5 organization. So in one of the organization, I was around 26 years, a very young guy, and I was a manager, you know, for the folks who are where 50 years. Okay. So
Wow.
basically, yeah, I think, and it blew my mind because when I went there, and all those 50 years guys were having tons of experience, and also they were very highly qualified. It's not that they were not qualified, right? They knew
Hmm.
the instrumentation controls in and out. They were all like PhD. And initially when it was, and they had a different reason. How can this person is only 26? How can he become a boss of my, And I saw that there were some reservations for them, and you won't believe that within 2 months I totally, I could connect with the team and it overchanged. And when I went out from that company, those people, they told that, hey, we are going to miss you as a leader. I think on
Wow.
a, yeah, just I want to tell is that what I seen is that no matter whatever your age is, whether you are 26, you are 50 years, right? It doesn't matter as a leader. You have to talk by the walk, and also you have to lead by an example, and also the honesty, right? And you need to be honest, totally authentic. You know, if you are very, like me, I was just 26, having only 3 4 years experience. You can't just tell that you know everything. You need to be telling that, hey, I really don't know, but you're strong in other areas. So then you get more respect. So what I'm telling that we should not be faking that. If you are a leader, then you are knowing everything, right? You should be authentic, correct to the team, and tell that, hey, I really, these are the areas I don't know, but these are the areas, why can't we work together, right? So
Hmm.
I think it really changed my thinking. And then when I went to the other companies, where I saw that my leaders were at the same age, fine, the formula remains the same, right? And now
Right.
I think now my career, I'm quite senior, and I have my people who are like 40s, 35s, and these things. It's the same. You need to be authentic, and you need to learn from them, from millenniums, right? Because I've seen they're quite smart, I think, especially. And I love technology, actually. I see that because that's really, I've seen that how it changes. And you need to learn from them, and they also learn, the millenniums also learn from you. So no matter whichever company you're working as a leader, that's the main thing. Authentic, being authentic, transparent, is the key thing. Because when you are authentic, transparent, trust builds. And without trust, I think, I feel that you know you can't, you cannot it's not about the lead or this thing. You can't help anyone, right? Help others. And so that's one of the key thing I have seen, that transparency, you know selfless, and honesty is the key thing. And being vulnerable, as we have been, unfortunately, I think, want to tell, in our schools we have been taught that you should know answer for everything, right? I think you
Correct.
guys can all connect, right? Because in your school, if you are not able to answer, you are considered to be some, oh, this guy doesn't have an answer. And we never raise a hand that, I don't know this, can you explain it? So I think
Yeah.
those are the things. Whether you are in school or this thing, we need to encourage our folks, whether at whatever level you are, whether you are working in whichever industry, IT, finance. I think these are the things which we need to be. If we don't know, let's be ask the team members, ask the seniors, and that really builds the trust. Because if you don't have trust, one thing is very clear: people will not share anything with you, right? And if they
Right.
don't share, trust will never come. And I think one of the key thing what I have learned, it's listening, 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 listening. What I am actually very extrovert. So what I've seen that I when I start a conversation, I love, like, having a conversation. But it's something, it's more important. I felt that it's not about telling whatever you have in your mind and heart, but you need to listen to the people. So that's one thing which I have seen, listening. And God has given 2 years, right? Actually only one mouth. So sometimes we reverse it and listen less and talk more. So I think that's one of the key thing, understanding people, listening, because I feel that half your problems are solved when you really listen carefully and really listen, and then you can have a meaningful discussion.
Right.
Not only discussion but understand the person. I think that's the key thing.
Great. And thank you for inspiring and also sharing your story how at the age of 26 you already became a leader, because I think a lot of us have that myth that you can become a great leader only when you have a lot of experience in terms of age, right? So age does not matter. Age, like you can still be a great leader at your 20s or in your 30s or in your 40s, right? It's not about the age. And yes, you highlighted about listening as well. Now when we talk about listening as a skill for the leaders, right, one thing is feedbacks, right? How do you think leaders should look at feedback? Because this is, I think, a very critical tool for any leader. How do you think people can look at this tool and how people can like improve and then become great leaders here?
Yeah, great question. So I think I this is very close to my heart, and I will be a bit radical in my statement. I believe so as a leader, or whatever, as a person, I sometimes feel that you need to be surrounded by critics. Not I'm into saying a good critics, right? In a who give a positive feedback. I'll just tell a very small story, and this is a real story. And there was a challenger which was launched in the US, and you people must have all you must have recollected. And there was a big failure in that particular space, the challenger space. Are you within? I think 20 or 50 seconds. I think not. I think I don't remember the time, but there was a catastrophe, and everything got it got destroyed. And when they did a deep analysis, what they found that there was a failure of an, I'm just going a bit technical, but it's okay. O-ring is nothing but a sealant, which helps us to seal the gases and those parts so that other parts don't get affected. So what they saw found out that out of critics, there was one person, one scientist was telling that, hey, this is not going to work. He was giving a very candid feedback, but some other folks, they wanted to just make it true, because otherwise it will get delayed. So had those people have taken that candid feedback and just analyzed more, maybe do a testing, it may go on for more time, right? It may go on have make take 2 to 3 months more, or maybe 1 year, that's fine. But they could have stopped the catastrophe. So this is only one event which people can, but similarly I think in your each person's example, right, in your life, I think those type of, we have a lot of examples. So I basically believe when I talk to my team, when people are giving me a very candid feedback, hey, this sucks, in fact, I'm more very interested to listen rather than, I don't want say all yes, yes, oh, it's going great, because really, you need to be surrounded by people who are giving you critical feedback. And one thing which I think, guys, I want to tell is that don't take anything personal. This is our common mistake, and it's very easy to tell. I may give a yam, but sometimes I also get in that one, because if somebody tells you, "Hey, Thota, you suck at this particular behavioral skill," I think immediately we'll tell who's this person. I think maybe he's my he's not my well wisher, but actually he's a well wisher, right? So please, I think that's I have my experience of 30 plus, that surround get if you get a critical feedback, work on it, and that person is who is giving it is actually your friend, and the person who doesn't give you critical feedback, though he knows, is your enemy. So that's the overall take on my when I get a what Fatah, you asked me, that when you get the critical feedback or insights about your development needed. And of course this is one of the things, but always people give you good insights also, that you are doing very good. So I think we need to accept that also, and also reciprocate with the gratitude. That's very important. If somebody is telling that, hey, really you have helped with this thing, we should not tell that, oh, it's fine, but let's reciprocate and keep it maintaining it, right? If somebody is telling me some good insights, it's not about only bad and good, right? So we need to take that and reinforce those positive strengths.
Right. This definitely is very profound, and coming from your huge experience, I think this is good. And like as you rightly mentioned, when somebody gives feedback, good feedback, acknowledge and appreciate or show gratitude towards them. And then if somebody is giving constructive feedback, right, to for you to improve, then you rightly mentioned, don't take it personal. I think this is what I have learned from my mentors as well. It's not for the person, the feedback is not for the person, the feedback is for that particular incident or for the particular situation, whatever, right? So if we can look at that as an event or incident and try to see how we can improve in that area, I think that will change the entire game for any leader.
Yeah, and I just want to add certain cultural aspect here, because I've been working with a lot of folks. I have led a team in the people who are working for the US. Who I lead a team who work in US. I also had some people who are in Mexico, France, right? So one thing which, and specifically this is a global village nowadays. It's not that you may be a person, you may be working in India, you may have some team person in Japan, right? Another person maybe in somewhere uh, in US, right? Or maybe South America, right? One thing which we have to respect is what I've seen. My experience is that each culture is very different, and we should not generalize the things, right? And maybe I will not go in a lot of details about each culture, but I have seen, as you go in towards east, that is Japan, Southeast Asia, they have a lot of respect for the elders, right? So
Right.
when an elder person is talking in Japan or something, you were the other junior person have to listen it. Still, it's going. So I will not tell it's good or bad, but that's the culture. Similarly, as you go towards west, even a 16 years person can challenge his 80-year person, right? At 70, who's fighting. So we need to be very cognizant of the culture, and have a respect with this culture, because sometimes what happens that when we try to jump the gun by giving our own formula, we have to go very subtly and tell them. But I just wanted to tell to the folks to be cognizant of this cultural aspects also. But there is a way of telling subtly also, right? So what Swata was telling, a very good constructive feedback, there is a way of telling. So if you see something eastern region where people are very respectful, you can always give the feedback constructive, but in a subtle manner. It's okay to tell to some Netherlands person very direct, because they are very very direct actually. It may work, but so that's something which we have to customize our feedback and tailor it. That's what I wanted to tell to the folks, because everyone is working in a global village, right? The
No, I
boundaries
think
are
this is,
thin.
yeah, yeah. This is a very good thing that you have shared, because all of us are working in the global culture now. Like everyone works with people from US, Europe, and other places, and understanding this and being cognizant of the culture, right? Because in some place, as you rightly mentioned, maybe like talking in a certain way is looked at good, and in certain other place, the same thing is not looked as the right culture. So understanding the culture and then adapting and then being open to everybody's culture, I think that's what makes us all not only a great leader but also a great human being.
Exactly. Know your audience.
Know your audience.
Yes, know your audience, and it's okay, and you will come to know. I mean, sometimes we may err, but we can correct always.
Right. So, Tota, we were talking about how we can accept feedback or how we can work on the feedback as a leader. But one of the challenge we see with many employees is they say at the end of the year I get the feedback from my employer, right? When I go and sit in the appraisal, that's the time my manager would say like, hey man, you did not work on this, you could have worked on this, this is not good. But the time of when I'm exiting, that's the time when my manager appreciates me or says like, you are great, you should stay with us. So how do you think leaders can improve on these aspects, and how people can give time to time feedback? What is your take on this?
Yeah. Fantastic question. This is something, right? I think just want to touch base that when you're in school, right, you get a progress report. right? So you take that, you get a marks, and then your parents, they see and tell, right? And so we have with our, even when we were 5-year kid, right? In the school, colleges, progress report comes every year end of it. Only thing, it's you get a one-way direction. That is, you get the report. If you have done great, if you have not done well, but nobody is there to tell you, right? And but when you go to the project jobs, I think it's almost like a progress report. But even whether you are 25, whether you are 50, each person will has to go through that every yearly assessment. Whether he's a CEO,
Right.
whether it is a CFO, whether he's a joint trainee, right? So it's a very good thing that every year, you know that assessment happens, and people are, sometimes they're surprised, not sometimes, most of the time they are surprised, right? Hey,
Mm.
I was expecting this, but how can it happen like that? So one thing which I want to tell everyone, I think what I the career is depending on ourselves. So whoever is the evaluator, he will evaluate yearly once only, right?
Right.
But it is us, it's the onus is on us to always, you know calibrate, or be sync with your whatever your leader, manager, or whatever. This, so what I feel, what I've seen, that my, especially I have been, because for me also the assessments would have been always were there, right? And I've
Right.
seen that most of the times my assessments were very good, and sometimes I top, right? And sometimes it was average also, it happens. And life is a journey, right? It's a marathon, right? You can't expect that you're always on number one, right? Yeah,
Correct.
if you're always going down, there is a, there is something to look about. But sometimes, you go to the top, you sometimes you are average, right? But on, so one thing what I've seen is that always calibrate. My case, I will tell, I will not tell, right?
Mm.
My discussions at the year end was only 10 minutes. Can you believe it?
Mm.
Because myself and my manager, or whoever the executive or the senior person, we had been calibrating so every week, and we know what Thota does, right? And so when I filled my assessment, it's already there. He's not neither I am surprised nor my evaluator is surprised, right? And the development needed, right? We those this these discussions are ongoing. It's not that we talk in the year end. Hey, looks to me that you have to improve your communication skills, right? Or you have to be more strategic, right? Whatever. That those
Mm.
discussions should happen in starting year itself, right? And you should have a progress report for that one, right? So what my take on is that stay in sync, regularly calibrate. Onus is on the person, on the person whose progress report will come, right? Or whatever the evaluation is
Right.
done. And you need not spend. I have seen a lot of cases, because I have been evaluating a lot of people. I've seen when you have a proper calibration, you are sync, your final discussion takes half an hour, 30 minutes, right? But if there is not a proper calibration is done, and there is, if they are both are out of sync by 180 degrees or 360, you can have 8 hours discussion also. But end of the discussion, both the parties, evaluator as well as the manager, they don't see the eye to eye, and they go out.
Right.
So that's something which I always feel that continuous calibration key, and getting the authentic, the clear, don't leave. I think one of the thing is that if you are not satisfied with your feedback in the year starting itself, work with your leader or manager and tell that how can I improve. These are the very very important discussions, right? Which will, even the leader will appreciate, this person is really authentic, he wants to really grow. And I have seen a lot of people, you won't believe, who are very very normal people, very very average, but they have changed their careers just by following the process. And I have seen very intelligent people who are very super smart, but they were average due to that, that I'm always good, and my evaluation should be always done good because I'm good, right?
Mm.
So calibration, working with the with your manager regularly. And always my recommendation is go for a quarter reviews. I have
Right.
seen that in life becomes very easy. It's informal. Maybe you will not have that performance management system in your, you may have only yearly, but there is no harm in logging in your spreadsheet. where you are manager and yourself just do a quarter wise. And I think that will really help you to leap forward, and for your career, as well as your manager will have more trust in you, and the growth will be there. Yeah.
Right. No, but I think these are really great insights that you are sharing and very helpful for people because most of us have this challenge, right? We say that we are not growing at the end of the year, we are not getting what we expect. But as you rightly said, don't wait for the end of the year. Communication is the key. Like at least once in a quarter, meet up. You don't have to put it on the tool, but have an Excel sheet, put it there, understand, have that review so that when you go to the final review, it may be a 10 minutes or a 20 minutes discussion, but you are always in sync and your manager already knows what you're doing. So I think this is really important for people to know.
Yeah, wanted to add one thing.
Hmm.
Maybe it's not of or it's I'm not transgressing this one discussion, but one thing what I have seen, this is a VUCA world, especially now where it's a
Hmm.
volatile, uncertain, and very ambiguous world. So the managers, the bosses, or leaders will love the people who can, simplify the way of working, do something which is very relevant, and
Hmm.
so basically challenging the status quo will be the key. And you know very very important that, especially I'm seeing that millenniums have that capability to challenge the status quo, but
Right.
go in a proper professional way, right? But really see that people who challenge the status quo, and whether it's a technology, whether it's a finance, or it can be anything, but that will be your driver for your that will drive your growth. And any your manager or boss will love it. You tell that this is the way it is now, but I want to simplify it, because this will improve whatever the efficiencies or cost or whatever it can be, right? I think that will create a really good growth for the person. So that's, I just wanted to add that flavor, because that's something all leaders or managers are looking for, how
Right.
the things can be done differently, which are more efficient, more simplistic. People don't want a complex solutions,
Right.
and you're right. And people have changed now. Everyone wants. You see the technology how it has changed, right? Earlier, I think we were never thought of if it would have been work from home, you know, it was doomed. They were
Right.
telling how can a person work from home? I mean, so maybe this person is just just telling that he's not work from home, but he will not do the work, right? But see, after COVID, what has happened? Unbelievable things have happened, right?
Hmm.
Within 2 years, I think we have been doing much better, working remotely, where we could
Right.
do the things which we are doing in the office. So that was the thing which challenging the status quo with the using of technology. We are all able to do this with the coming of cloud, those technologies, right? Sitting in your home, you can drive. I think the way we are discussing, right? People are able to see the web chat, right? We can drive
Right.
your conversation with the customer across the world, right? Because in this
Correct.
COVID time, we were not able to travel also. Without earlier, I
Right.
think we have without traveling, your work was not done, right? Because I have to
Yeah.
meet
Yeah.
the customer from US or Japan. But now today, I think we can get it done. So all of this has happened because someone challenged the status quo, right? So that
Correct.
way, I think I was just telling that I wanted to give that insight. Yeah.
No, that's really good. The insights that you have shared, and we spoke about how leaders can accept feedback, how we can give feedback, and how people or the corporate professionals need to take the complete ownership, have this communication and all. But we all know that there is one challenge, and this is one common thing that many people say, right? People leave their bosses, not their companies. Now, retention is one of the important thing for any leader. Now, how can people retain? How can leaders retain their people, right? When sometimes people also don't turn up, don't communicate with you, but at the end you get to know that okay, fine, you are losing an important resource there. So how can leaders retain their best resources or the potential leaders?
Yeah. So this is a very hot topic across the world, whether
Yeah.
from east to west, right? The attrition rate is very high.
Right.
It's as high as 25%, no
Right.
matter whether it is in India, US, or so. One thing which I realized, what I have experienced, is that I told you, right? God has given 2 years listening.
Hmm.
So what people have to, the leaders as well as the managers and the employees, they have to talk together, right? Hey, say if I'm an employee and I'm see, we always get burnout or we get bored. This is a human thing. If you do a task or a project or program year after year, I think you people are there. There are some lot of people who will get bored, right? So this is a high time where we need to have a discussions, right? Telling that can I get some, if you are in a technology or if you are in a financial, whichever area, I'm not specifically have a discussion, candid discussion. That's what I told quarterly or monthly, whatever. You need to have those discussions that time, not at the year end,
Hmm.
right? Where what I have seen, in fact, in my experience, I have seen, and of course, I will come to that point where the leader, their part is also very important. It's not only one way. I have seen in
Right.
my experience where I have some very good team members, right? Good team members means they're very critical, but they come and tell that hey, why don't why can't can I get in cyber security? I'm just giving an example. We are in control, so they'll tell that I
Hmm.
want to get in cyber security. I want to go in that one. So, and that's something which we need to make it more serious discussions and make it as a leaders we need to make a plan and tell them, hey, yes, we can do it. Maybe this is the plan. Why don't after 6 months, 3 months, 6 months, yeah, we'll give you a change, right? And the person who is asking, and when he sees, and when we have that regular calibration, and he sees after 6 months he's in new team, that's it. So that honest discussions have to happen. And
Hmm.
there is some role from the leader also. I think they have to be more I will say selfless, right? He
Right.
should be not only thinking about their team and this thing, it's about that person's career aspiration, right? So we have to, at the same time, we don't want to also like the person coming, the employee, tomorrow I want to go to that team. It doesn't happen like that,
It
right?
doesn't
So
happen that
we
way.
need to balance. And I have seen in my teams where people have come and they asked very different departments. In fact, I promised 8 months that I will do it. They agreed, but I made it within 3 months. So
Hmm.
they were super excited. And one thing is that as a leaders, we have a lot of connectivity connection across other leaders or managers, and we can always make those shifts.
Hmm.
So very very candid discussions with the manager and having a plan, right? And if there are some issues, there where the leader is not listening, maybe you need to have a 1 hour, you know how to discussion with his boss if required, through a proper discussion. But we cannot be passive and tell that I want to do this thing, but end of the year I'm nobody has listened, so I want to go out of the company.
Hmm.
Because I feel that you need to find diamond within your area. You need not seek until unless there is something big, some differences. But you can get all the technologies, all the type of supply chain experiences in within that company where it can happen. The leader can make it happen, provided there is a meaningful discussions and a proper calibration.
Right, and I think you have very well said this, that you need to be a selfless person when you are a leader, and also try to help your employees in their own career growth. Now, one of the challenge that Tota I keep listening as a mid-career coach is,
Yeah.
I got into a project Fata, but my manager does not release me. I got into a particular thing, but my manager says you are a top performer. What do I do? So, how can a leader, right, still take this risk because they are letting go some of the top performers from their team, right, and then still grow? Like, how can somebody become so selfless, or how can somebody start working in this direction if they have to become an authentic leader and help their team members grow?
Yeah, great question. And I'll again give a sports example, right, which is very
Mhm.
close to my heart. And everything, whether you play a game, whether you do a work, everything is a game, right, where you have to want to go for a win. Sometimes, so what I've seen that the top teams, like you say Australia, even India now. Now I think India, I think it's a
Right.
you need to always have, you have a top team that is A list team where you have all the 11 players, and then you have B and C, right? Second layer and third layer. And I think you people must have recollected this last year's cricket match with Australia where India won. Your entire team was wiped out due to injuries in the
Hmm.
fourth, where the fifth test match, we had all the B and C players except two or three. But we went and win the game. So basically, we need to have very strong pipeline of the team members. That is whether, so what I suggestion, what my take on that one is that your manager will always help you out. Even you may be the top talent, provided you groom other people. So share the knowledge. So sometimes, we get in that, in this conundrum where we think that if I share my knowledge, maybe, my importance will come down. In fact, it's quite reverse. If you share, if you serve, if you share your knowledge, your growth is abundant. So you are even, in fact, if you have a bigger opportunity, your manager or boss will take you and keep, provided you groom other folks, because you will tell, hey, Mr. X, you are asking a correct question, that you are the top, I am the top talent, but why don't you take this person, who's working with me, is almost like 80-90%, and if you given a
Hmm.
chance, he can take my position and I can go to the next level or some other thing. So that's the main crux. Help others, groom others, right? And always try to be selfless, but no matter at what level you are. It's not, I feel that every person is a leader, whether you are in a, when you start as a trainee, whether it's a mid level, right? The seniority, the age doesn't define you as a leader. You can be a, I have seen people who are 23, 20 coming from a college, their way of level are doing is much better than even the 50, 55 years. It's all about the mindset and how they do that. So that's
Right.
something which, but it's a common phenomenon where, the manager doesn't want to release. But if there is that type of problem, maybe you need to tell that I have a B, or other people, maybe that person, they think that he's a B or C team. But if you have the confidence and tell your manager that he can, in my absence, he can take care of this project, I think you can be released and you will be given a better opportunity
Yeah, yeah,
or come out of
absolutely
the
agree.
project.
Right, right. I agree with this. Like, it's all about mindset, building that abundance mindset, and first trying to fix from our side. Have we created our backups? Have we shared abundance knowledge? Right? Have we actually made the other B or C players come to our level so that our managers or our bosses can actually help us to become the next level of leader? Right. So, creating leaders to become a leader is also very important here.
Yeah, I want to add one thing here. Want to add one aspect is each person has to be, no matter at what level, whether you're a leader or top, compassionate, and, you know is very, compassion is very important, because, I have seen, especially the technical skill, no matter whether you are in a, programming, Java, ML, machine, these all can be taught. These are the skill sets, right? Of course you have to put some work, but it's each day. The main thing will be your, that soft skills, that, mindset, what Fatah was telling. We need to be more compassionate, having empathy with the team members, right? Because, and, that's how you can, share your knowledge, right? When somebody is in a crisis, what I have seen, a good team, what's a good team is that when there is a crisis, each person, come together, pull together, and they come and resolve the issue. And
Hmm.
a bad team is that each person works as a solo player, right? And each person may be the best, but when there is a problem, other person do not even come and see. Let him, okay, let him suffer. I'm not bothered, because that's not my task, right? So that's camaraderie. That compassionate is the most key, whether to develop, and that will help you to grow. That's very key thing which we sometimes miss, because sometimes, somehow, we have been living in a very artificial, comparing world, right? Where we try to compare, oh, this guy got X increment, 1% increment. That's how something which, I have never, because I have been seeing the employees, they've been always discussing, comparing, and which I never do it. That's a good
Hmm.
thing, because I never get stressed. And maybe my, colleague is there, he may get 40%, whatever X percent high. Maybe he's a different person, I am a different person. If we, how can I get the growth? By proving myself and helping others. So that's something which, very helpful. And don't compare with yourself. Each person is a unique. I have, gone through, I have read that each one is a, miracle by himself, right?
Hmm.
So
Absolutely.
yeah, don't try to, we are not a machines coming out of a factory looking
Right.
similar. So I think that's something which, please play, we have to play to our strengths, and also, if we have some weakness, how can we round it out? Yeah.
Right. And you mentioned about being compassionate, Tota,
Yeah.
but in today's world, we call it as like cutthroat competition, right? Result oriented. Otherwise we will lose vendors, we will lose the clients. So how can a leader think about results? Because a lot of leaders now say, I'm a result oriented leader. Without results, we cannot
Okay.
sustain. Right? How can we still become result oriented, but still be compassionate to our people, still have emotional connect with people, and still help people in our own ways?
Okay. Yeah, I think they tell that customers first, right?
Right.
But you know, I tell people first. That's my principle, because people first, automatically customers are taken care.
Yes.
Right? End of the day, who are the people who interact with the customer? It's the people only, right? The
Right.
employees, right? It's not someone sitting at the top. He goes to the customer. The CEO, I mean, I want to be frank. CEO never goes to and talks to a customer, right? Because he cannot talk in the same language, right? Because CEO is the
Yeah.
he's the overall. But who is these the employees, right? They and go and talk to the customer. So basically, if the employees are taken care, automatically the customers are taken care. So as a leader, right? If we are result oriented, whatever. I mean, as you ask,
Hmm.
people are taken care. Automatically, result is a byproduct.
Yeah.
A company, if is having a great culture, right? See, some top companies, like, right, how the some of the top companies, you can say, they are some now they are like trillion market
Right.
evaluations, right? You just see those
Correct.
examples, right? It's all about the culture. I think that's the main. Culture is nothing but all people coming together, right? Having a form a common belief, right? So that's the one of the key thing is that if we in the employees are taken care, and they're putting heart and soul, right, heart and mind, automatically results will come. So I'm really not concerned about the results. So that's
Yes.
my take, of course. This thing. So and yeah.
I think makes a lot of sense because again, if you look at it, you treat your employees the best way, then they will treat your customers in the best way, and then that actually gets you the results also in the best ways, and your customers will convert into your clients, and then you continue to work with them forever.
The customers basically, they want a love tender, the that honesty, transparency, whatever I told, right?
Hmm.
Whatever we discussed, we had a good discussion about transparency, honesty. Actually, customer wants it. I have seen working with so many customers, they want, hey, we have a real problem. If you tell technical, then they're very happy rather than hiding, tell everything is okay. No. So all this formula is applies to customers also. It's nothing like it's only for employee manager relation, right? Your
Right.
feedback with customer is also important, provided you do a periodic calibration with them. The
Right.
customer should not get surprised by you telling that, hey, I was expecting something and you gave something. So just is same. Calibration, discussing, listening.
Yeah, I think being honest as one of the top values very important. And you spoke about organization culture here. Now, one reason why many people try to manipulate things, especially at the leadership level, is they believe that if I'm honest, then I lose the contracts, I lose that particular client. Right. So, how do you think people can still retain clients or get the best clients even after being honest? Because again, there's a lot of
Yeah,
competition. Again, you can't get new contracts and all of this.
yeah. I think one thing I learned after my lot of gray hairs, that it's a leader has to be fearless. I think there is no second thoughts. What I think that is that it's not a very easy thing with the, when you are dealing with, sometimes you have ups and downs, right? When you have sometimes projects gets screwed up, right? Sometimes it you may do 100 projects, but one or two projects may go wayward, right? Due to and that's the time where we see, as a leaders, we have to be very very, we need to have the back of the people, right? And then because as people also, they sweat a lot, right? I see nowadays how the folks work, right? It's not so easy thing, right? So having that back of the people, right, telling that it's okay, right? Sometimes the mistakes happen. Let's not try to repeat it again. Put it as a process, make it more mistake proofing, use some technologies not to happen again, right? We can do always those things. So that's very very key thing is that fearless, because one thing I see that my it's a known quotation, other side of fear is freedom.
Hmm.
And Hindi, डर के आगे जीत है, right? So
Right.
basically basically, if as a leader, if I am myself very fearful, right? Oh, what will happen? I don't think that we'll have a bunch of lions as your team, right? They will be also like that. They will take the cues from the leader. So being a fearless leader, right, will be one of the key thing. It's quite difficult because sometimes, you need to take the brunt, but it's okay, right? That's all leadership about, right? And it's not only leadership, it's about our, I told you, life is a marathon, right? It's not a
Right.
short sprint. So you need to take the ups and downs and go up, right? I'll give you an example of Apple, right? You saw like how Steve Jobs, I mean, he rose again, he was taken out, then the Apple was about to be bankrupt. They filed in chapter 11 also, but again, rest is history. They came with a iPod and iPhone. You know what has happened now. It's almost like a
Right.
trillion business economy of some lot of countries combined.
Right. Right. And I think one of the important traits definitely is being fearless as a leader. And when you were talking about this fearless attitude and then taking that back of your team, right? And then making sure even if your projects fail, your teams, you are still taking them along with you. When you were talking about it, I could visualize APJ Abdul Kalam's example when his leader, right, his manager or his boss took the responsibility and then came up in the front and then said like I take the responsibility and still gave that opportunity to his team to grow and then improvise and do things. Now today it's a history, right, where they
Ex-
were able to come up with like some great results out there.
exactly. You well said. I think that's a great example of yeah, great example of Abdul Kalam. Yeah.
Yeah, great. And how do you build trust with your employees as a leader, Tota? Like what
Yeah.
are there any
Yeah.
ways that we can
Correct.
build
Yeah,
trust?
I think one main thing I will believe is in integrity. That's one thing which I'm a great believer of integrity. No, because I have seen, my 30 I have seen, I've seen means we have read in the paper. Everyone has read in the papers. We have seen some companies disappearing with a lack of integrity, right? Companies, forget about people. Companies getting disappeared. They were in the top 10 and they're nowhere now. I'm talking about big companies in the US, in India also, right? People must be knowing, right? So, and it applies to persons also. It's the same thing. Company is like a person, right? So basically, that's one of the key thing where integrity is the one of the key thing which I have seen is that, no matter, we need to have those beliefs and integrity, and we should be standing by that, because that's something, which is very key for our sustenance and this thing. And with that, discipline will be one of the key factor, right? No matter, if you see, you want to have something, right? We want to build the company, build an employees thing. Discipline is the key. So basically, I really believe a lot in integrity and discipline. So, and in integrity, I have seen in the cases where you will have, a lot of temptations where you will, people may get some easy way of money, right, through infringing, because especially in this digital world, there are a lot of, right, how those pilferages can happen in this this digital world. But we need to be very more bothered about those integrity stuff and stand by that one. So that will be one of the key thing, and of course along with the discipline.
Yeah, and this is what I think I have heard from most of the leaders who come on my interview. Very common answer: integrity. And I think I have been reading many successful leaders. They also talk a lot about integrity. Now, but just to get more on this one, like to elaborate, what is integrity as per you?
Yeah, good question and a tough question also. Yeah, integrity is, I feel basically believe that, say I'll give an example. Say some company, they have their integrity very very clearly nowadays. I think it's very, online, and those are the basic frameworks, right? Where it is very clearly mentioned. But there are some beliefs from our side, from the human aspect also, right?
Hmm.
So like, like a compassionate, right? As a working, helping the team as a whole, right? And then empathy, right? And when there is a requirement from some of the team members, right? Or how you help them, right? These are the things which reinforce along with the integrity, where, and no matter, sometimes in integrity, what happens that there is a shortcut, right? Sometimes you can go along with that one, and you may, okay, right? It looks good, but always what happens, this is a great example. I think I will give an example. I think that's it. What happens, you must be seeing in Bangalore, Hyderabad, Mumbai, all cities, right? You have a fantastic roads, right? But you'll see people coming in wrong direction.
Right.
Have you seen or not, right? You have seen,
Yeah.
right? What happens if there is a what can happen, right? I have seen, I think, people can get killed, right?
Hmm.
If you are, and that too in the wrong direction, they will come, and the person who, and the roads are very clear, and the person who is coming in the right direction, he may be at a very high speed of 50, 60, right? So that is nothing but violating integrity, right?
Violating, yeah,
Violating
correct.
integrity. I give an example of traffic light, right? Midnight, not midnight, say 12 o'clock, right? Traffic lights work. You're tempted, right? Because the road is
You're
empty.
tempted to break that and then keep moving because nobody is watching you.
You
Yeah.
can always hit the red because it's okay, right? Nowadays, challan aa jata hai, you'll pay 100 rupees from. But what can happen? You just imagine if in other direction the green guy is coming at, and say night 1 o'clock, that person also will be at high speed, right? At 80, and you have
Hmm.
also gone. What will happen? And you guys all know, right? These accidents have happened. This is nothing but a violation of integrity. So
Right.
basically, the integrity applies to your organization, your beliefs. You can divide into those things, and we need, wherever you violate, it's just like a traffic light example I got. Maybe one
Yeah,
or two
yeah.
times you can escape,
Right.
but
No,
third time,
I will remember this example very well now. And now, if I can relate this example, Tota, like you said, somebody going on the wrong lane, right? And then they are breaking the rule uh, where they are not following the integrity. And somebody, right, really doing the right stuff. If we take, for example, somebody is manipulating the customer reports or the data just to get success in their career. And somebody is still doing a lot of things, but they are not able to do anything in terms of manipulation. So you said one is if projects fail, if people are not performing well, you still take their back as a great leader and then keep moving ahead. But what if somebody is doing wrong in terms of integrity? There is an issue. How do great leaders now, like, still they take back or do they fire them? Like, what is the next step of action as a great leader?
see, one thing is that you'll get diamonds, right? The diamonds are made, how, with the pressure, right?
Right.
And you don't make diamond if it is a very shortcut, right? If you don't you put under pressure, don't polish it, it's not a diamond, it's a fake diamond, right? But there is no
Yeah.
cost, right? Similarly, the same example goes for this one. Take a shortcuts, people know, I think we know the leaders they know the actual value, right? And actual, and I think this is a great situation where when a person sees another person who is violating, and he feels bad that, hey, he's violating, he's doing, but he's able to getting the success, but I am
Hmm.
slogging, but I'm not getting that same success, right? Am I correct in understanding this type
Right.
of, this is the
Yes, that is
question,
right.
right?
Right.
But again, I'm repeatedly telling life is a marathon, not a short sprint, and diamonds are forever, right? The people who
Right.
really slog and smartly slog, right? Again, I'm putting a word smart, smartly
Mhm.
slog with all the things. They are like diamonds, and diamonds are forever. And
Right.
people who violate, maybe it's a sprint, maybe it may go for a year, 2 years, 4 years, but once they, it's okay. But but if they fall, they'll fall forever.
Right.
So that's
Agreed.
something
Agreed.
which I wanted to tell that for all the, because, but it's a very genuine question what you ask people. Sometimes they, again, comparing with each other, right?
Right.
So they feel that that person has taken a shortcut and he may be going more than me, but
Right.
he will stop at some place, because not stop, he'll fall, that
He
person,
will
because
fall. Yeah.
yes, and you'll go on, if you are, and you'll become a diamond.
Right. I will remember again this forever. This is very profound. Diamonds will remain diamonds forever.
Ever.
And you need to go through that crush. But here, one of the challenge many people also talk when they are like quitting companies or they go through the stress and pressure is now I am walking on the right path. There are people who are walking on the wrong path, right? And I'm ready to go through that pressure. But people get hurt when the leaders themselves are supporting the wrong path. So how do now the people take action when there are leaders who are actually supporting the wrong actions?
Yeah. So I think this is a two question. Maybe first question I will, first part I will talk about the work life balance. I could understand, or
Mhm.
working, right, and people who are
Yeah,
working more, maybe, or acting more. I think they're giving more
yeah.
credit or something
But
like that.
they here the question is more on like when your leaders are not supporting the right actions, they are
Okay.
rewarding the wrong actions. How do you actually take care of this one?
Yeah, I think there should be a lot of. I think it's very genuine and honest question. there should be a lot of thought process, soul searching for a lot of leadership or whatever managers or this thing, and a lot of soul searching has to be, and people have to, especially the senior positions or they have to really reflect on themselves and go for the actual thing where where actual diamonds are rewarded, not the fake diamonds. So and and there are a lot of nowadays all the companies I have seen. I think there is a lot of impetus on this one where they're coaching their even the senior professionals, right, leaders. It's not that it's not happening, but it takes some time. But one thing which my suggestion is that from the employee stand, because one of my top US, I think I still remember, I think that statement still now is, I tell to my employees that you challenge your boss in a good manner, in a good manner. And that's
Mhm.
very important because it opens the eyes for the even the leaders or the managers. Again, there is settled way, right? How you, again, that's a big another discussion where how
That's,
you
I
give the
think, more
feedback.
of how do you
Yeah,
articulate. It's more of
articulate.
your communication skills and all of that.
I have personally, I have grown because when I tell to when my employees challenge me in a good sense, really it has helped me open my blind spots.
Right.
Especially each person is having a blind spot, whether he's an employee or a senior person. And when you're people are telling you these are the problems, and then we know about your blind spots and you really work on it. So giving the candid feedback subtly in a proper manner, again it is coming to that performance, that this thing is the key thing to help the senior folks also how to take care. I hope this answered, right, Fatah, which
Yeah,
that
yeah,
was the, yeah,
definitely.
yeah,
This is really good here. And now we know that we have like hit pandemic from the past 2 years. People are working from home and all of this. So how can leaders now actually maybe respond in different way or take different actions, or how can they actually work in different ways to suit this particular time and then still be able to help employees? Because sometimes there is a trust factor that comes in whether employee is working or not. Sometimes there is a factor of like work not being done for the clients. How can leaders like still work in better ways? And again, we know the challenges around the pandemic. People have lost their families, people have lost their health, so a lot of these things also happening around.
yeah. That's a yeah. I think it's a valid question. But as a humans, we always have a workaround solution that we have done. So one thing before pandemic, I think what I've seen, water cooler discussions is the one of the key thing, right? And the people will come to the rooms, or they will discuss. That was a very that was building that lot of coherence and social bonding, right? Even water coolers discussions are very critical, right? Important, I think. So those have been almost like we don't have those discussions at all, right? Because we are not going to the office, right? So one of
Yeah.
the things what we it is quite helping is having actually the meetings. I think each one is working more now after the pandemic. Maybe earlier people were working 8 hours, now it is maybe 9, 12. I don't know, but it has increased at their level. So one thing what I have it has worked for me is to having a FaceTime video or whatever the Teams, or have the video switch on, right? Have some and it's okay. You can be in a casual T-shirt, that's fine, with your T-shirt and jeans or whatever. But have those discussions, and if you have that video discussions, it really helps a lot
Mhm.
rather than telephone, and it looks to be a bit dead. So have this thing. What I've seen, I think in one of my team meeting with I have a team in other place in Pune. So the team was new, it came to me, and what I did, there were some 10 people in a manufacturing setup. We are in software, but this team was in manufacturing. So I told, the manager was leading that particular team, I told, why don't we have a FaceTime video, Teams video. We called all the people, and we had a fun discussion, like you know talking about the projects, but as also the personal thing, how the things going. And I got a fantastic feedback. The team thought that we should have this type of meeting every month.
Wow.
So that's very key thing, that. And have virtual celebrations, have celebrations, like when in your office, when you are there, when you do some project, we used to get some cake celebration, or after we used to go to some dinner, right? But now things are not there, but at least have a virtual celebration, right? Meet all people, have some fun, right? Create some, be creative. I think
Right.
these things will help a lot. But and this will almost simulate your conditions what earlier before COVID, when we were all in the office. and
Right.
be more empathetic. And even and one thing we have to be more cognizant is that in this COVID, a lot of people have facing a lot of issues in the first wave and second wave, where the family members, right, they were also there with them, and their family members were affected, but they have to do the projects, right, because project deadlines will not stop unfortunately.
Correct.
So
Hmm.
how you share these things, share your problems with the team members, with the leaders, is more. If you don't share, nobody is going to help. So that's one thing I tell to my team is that you have a problem, let's share and be candid. Because if you don't share, we cannot help. So that's one of the main thing which I will emphasize is that to have a more discussion, informal discussions also.
Yeah.
the
I
pro-
think
the
the
formal discussions will always happen on the project, the agile
right.
teams, and that will going to happen, that's not a problem, but informal is very important. And start with one thing which I also want to tell, that somehow our Indian culture, we just start directly. Hey Father, what is the project going, tell me this thing, that thing, and this thing. Somehow I tell, it's very boring, just start. Let's learn something good things from US also. I've seen that there's a fantastic icebreaker. They talk about the family for 2 minutes, sports or whatever, and then they start on the project. It's very important. So that's something which I always see that we need to do more, whether it's the team
Yeah.
people or the leaders also. Start with icebreaker, have fun, and then you can go to the projects.
Right. These are definitely amazing tips here, right? The starting with an icebreaker and having that video time with your team members, colleagues, because if you at least see them, you are happy. Like, and then the bonding also builds with all of that.
Yeah.
And then it can be informal communication, it can be formal communication. It need not be the formal dressing as well. But then, yes, communicating and being in touch and then doing that FaceTime and all of this will definitely help. So I think we have had a great conversation for the last 1 hour, Tota. And before
Yes.
we conclude on this particular episode, any advice that you want to give or anything that you want to share as we
Yeah, I
conclude?
think one of the key thing which is I what I was just thinking is that we need to take that manage word, whether managing, right? We have to inspire now. So, and it's inspired doesn't mean that you have to be leader.
Mm.
You can be at any level. You can be at just a first day employee also. It's fine. But how we inspire each other, I think that's one of the thing which it looks to be honest compared to managing. Managing looks to be manipulating. So for me, according to my definition, because everybody can do that one, but how we inspiration is the key thing, and each person have to inspire at their at their particular level. So I think with that key takeaway, I think I just wanted to give a lot of thanks, and to Fatah to give me an opportunity for giving this have such a candid discussion with our all the folks, and I think it was a great discussion,
Yeah. Thank you
and
for
I
that
also
last
learned a
piece
lot.
of advice as well for inspiration. And definitely, your talk was very inspiring for me, of course, firstly, and then for people who have been watching us live, like we have Pradeep, Pushpendra, and Ashish, David. Few of them are there here, and then I know like few of them are watching on different platforms, and people who have been watching, who are going to watch us on recording also. I'm sure they are going to learn a lot from here. So thank you, Tota, for being here
Yeah,
and sharing your knowledge and experience with us.
yeah. Have fun and enjoy the life.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you. And thanks
Thank you.
everyone for watching us live and who are going to watch on recording. I'm sure you are going to learn a lot and enjoy this conversation. And yes, of course, stay tuned for the next coming up episodes because we are going to bring more leaders who can help there with their wisdom, with their knowledge and experience so that it can help you also to build your dream career. So with that, thank you and have a great night.
Thank you. Thank you.